claimed you died in 1979 when you had your first car accident. What's the difference between dying and an NDE? If there is actually a difference between dying and a near-death experience.
Yes, there is. In essence, there is. And basically, that's the reason why when I answer your questions, I address the fact that I died. The answer is yes and no. What happened to me in 1979 was an experience that I can claim to be a fact. I died, period. And the fact that it cannot be termed as a near-death experience just because of the fact that I died, that makes it different. In the sense that nobody can argue with me saying, well, it could have been a hallucination or a dream or a mental breakdown somewhere. No, I died. And there is a difference. Not in the term of near-death experience, how people portray it, but there's a big difference between having died, being physically dead, and having an experience that can be questioned. Now, how do I know that I died if I wasn't there in the first place? Well, very simple. When I began to ask myself all these questions throughout those years, and after having gone through the year 2000 mystical, spiritual, transcendental experience that I had, I began to question myself many times, and I wanted to double check and make sure that indeed that's what happened. Now remember, we're dating back to 1979. There was no technologies, there were not cell phones around, cameras was only coming from the news. I mean, it must have been, it has to be an incident so great and disproportionate that the news media comes in, the newspaper and all. None of that happened here in this case. But yes, I do have one witness, and is the friend that was with me in the car. When I was T-boned, I was T-boned from this side. And to give you an extent of the magnitude of the car accident, the driver's door ended up right at the center console, and I was right in there. Because I was T-boned, my friend was next to me in the passenger seat, and he of course survived the accident. But when I saw him last time, about 2 years ago, after my 2011 experience, I went to him and I asked him, did I die? And he stood up for quite some time, and he asked me to go in the very back of the backyard to follow him. And I did. He lighted up a cigarette and he told me, Frank, well, Frank is not my actual nickname, but let's say that he said Frank. He said, Frank, you were dead. You were dead. You fell in my lap and you were dead. So I asked him, why, if that's so, why didn't you tell me? And his reply was very simple and very honest, and I could see it in his expression. And he said, Frank, when I was taken to the hospital and I asked for you, they told me you were alive. So how could I? How could I? You see, that's my witness. My dear friend that was next to me, that he saw me and he knew I was dead. Did I ask if he took my pulse or anything like that? No, I didn't, because I didn't have to. I knew exactly what it meant. I knew exactly how it felt. And then I added up all the different angles that I was compiling from different sources, and I was able to put it all together. The car accident took place at about 4 p.m. When I came from the other side, it was already dusk, meaning that it was probably about 6 p.m. They claimed that I was in the car, trapped, and nobody dared to touch me because I was convulsing heavily, and no one dared to touch me. Now, the convulsion took place after my friend was taken out of the car. He was taken to the hospital, but when he was removed from the car and I was laying down there, I don't know if I suddenly start convulsing or not, because that was not a specific question that you ask to someone that tells you that no one dared to touch you because you were convulsing. You see? And after all that time that I was convulsing, suddenly I stopped and someone dared to take me out of the car. At that time, it must be the time when I start perceiving and receiving and feeling that horrendous pain in my body when I was being removed. And the next thing I know, when I opened my eyes, I saw the edge of the windshield of my car very close to me as I was taken out of the car. Of course, I was taken out from the passenger's side. So I had enough consciousness to see that frame in the car and knowing where I was. And then I was told that I was being laid on the floor, waiting for someone to take me to the hospital. And well, that's the end of that part of the deal. But when it comes to your questions, if there's a difference between near death and actually being dead, well, that difference by itself is the fact that I died, period, and I came back. You see? I hope that helps you.